Okay, so for today's lesson, we're dealing with word problems, and you need to be able to set up and solve algebraic word problems. So when you think about the word consecutive integers are numbers that are in a row. For example, if we start talking about numbers like 1, 2, 3, or 9, 10, 11, or 17, 18, 19, these are numbers that are one right after the other. Usually we talk about 3 numbers at a time. So the first number, which you might not know what the number is that you're trying to solve for, but we're going to call it x. And we know that once I have that first number, to get to my next number after that, it's going to be x plus 1. And then I know that to get to the number after that, it's going to be x plus 2. So just think about it. Let's say I'm thinking about the number 55. If 55 is x, then 55 plus 1 is 56, and 55 plus 2 is 57. Those are consecutive integers. Then you have consecutive evens and consecutive odds, and those happen to be every other number. You're skipping one in between. So when we start talking about consecutive even integers, and we talk about numbers that are be first, second, or third, consecutive evens, if the first number we don't know, and we're going to call it x, and then I skip over the next number and go to the following number, that's x plus 2, and then when I skip over and go to the third number, it's x plus 3. I'm sorry, x plus 4. Scratch that, x plus 4. So for example, think about this. Let's say the first number is 12. If 12 is x, then 12 plus 2 is 14, and 12 plus 4 is 16. Those are consecutive even integers. Well, consecutive odd integers is the same idea. You still start off with your first number that's odd, and then you go 2 more up to find your second odd number, and then 2 more up again becomes your third odd number. People kind of think it's weird that why, if you're dealing with consecutive odd numbers, do you have evens as you go from one to the next? And it should make sense if we take this example of 15. If 15 is x, 2 more than 15 is 17, and 4 more than 15 is 19. You do, in fact, have consecutive odd numbers. Okay, so when we start doing word problems, the idea is that we need to define the variable. What are we using for x? Set up an equation, solve that equation, and label appropriately if necessary. This first one has nothing to do with consecutive integers. It just says to you that 6 less than 1/2 of a number is 12. Find the number. Well, we don't know what the number is. That's our defining the variable. X stands for the number. We're going to figure out what that number is. And it says 6 less than half a number is 12. Well, 6 less, we know always comes last. Half a number is 1/2 x, is means equals 12. So then we just need to solve this. I tend to solve my problems that have fraction in it by clearing out the fractions. I'm going to multiply everything through by 2. 2 divided by 2 times 1 is 1x. 2 divided by 1 is 2 times -6 is -12. 2 divided by 1 is 2 times 12 is 24. Add 12 to both sides, and x equals 36. So the answer in this case is the number that I'm thinking of, where 6 less than half of it happens to be 36. Okay, let's try the next one. The perimeter of a rectangle is 60. Where am I? The perimeter of a rectangle is 60 centimeters. The length of a rectangle is 15 centimeters more than twice the width. Find the length and the width. All right, so I know I've got a rectangle. And in terms of what they're telling me, I know something about the length, but not about the width. So I'm going to let x stand for the width. So x equals the width. And there's 2 of them. That's why I put x's on both sides. Well, the length is 15 centimeters more than twice the width. 15 centimeters more than twice the width. So 15 plus 2x equals the length. Perimeter I know because it tells me is 60. Well, to find the perimeter, it's equal to twice the length plus twice the width. So I'm going to set up my equation and say 60 equals 2L plus 2W. My length I know is 15 plus 2x. My width I know is just x. So now as I start solving this problem, I have this. 60 equals 30 plus 4x plus 2x. Or 60 equals 30 plus 6x with combining like terms. Subtract 30 on both sides. 30 equals 6x. Divide both sides by 6. And 5 is equal to x. Well, what's the question? It wants me to find the length and the width. When I solved and got 5, then 5 centimeters must be my width, and then 15 plus 2 times 5, or 15 plus 10, is 25. So 25 is my length. Okay, and this should make sense because if I take a look, I know this is kind of in the way. But if I take a look at my rectangle, then if I take 2 of my widths, I've got basically, I'm going to go like this. So this should be 5, this should be 5, this should be 25, this should be 25. 50 plus 10 equals 60. That's just like a check. Okay, now I gotta get this out of this paper. Okay, here we go. All right, so then the next one. Here's where we start seeing consecutive integers. These just want consecutive, not even, not odd, just plain old consecutive, and they want 3. So we don't know the first number. We're going to have to call that x. We're going one right after the next. X plus 1 is 2, or the second number, I should say. And x plus 2 is the third number. Well, it says that the sum of those 3 is 129, which in English means first number plus second number plus third number equals 129. Whoopsie. I'm not really sure why there's a 6 over there. So then what you basically need to do is bring down the things that you know for sure, substitute in the expressions for the others. X is the first, x plus 1 is the second, x plus 2 is the third. Start combining like terms. Well, 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3x plus 3 is 129. Subtract 3 on both sides. 3x equals 126. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 42. Well, it wants you to find all the integers, which means if the first number is 42, the second number is 43, the third number is 44. You can write your answers like this too on the side if you want. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Find 3 consecutive odd integers so that the sum of the first and the third is 37 more than the second. So let's just kind of stop here. 3 consecutive odds. So we know that x is the first. Remember, you're skipping every other. So x plus 2 is the second, and x plus 4 equals the third. So in English, it says the sum of the first and the third is means equals, 37 more than the second. So basically, I know first plus third is 37 more than the second. Hopefully this makes sense. You're just translating it exactly how you see it. So I know that this is going to come down. My first is x, my third is x plus 4, and my second is x plus 2. If I combine like terms on the same side, I get 2x's plus 4 on the left and 39 plus x on the right. Just have to solve this now. Subtract x, and you get 1x plus 4 is 39. Subtract 4, and you get x is 35. Well, 35 is in fact an odd number. So I know my numbers are going to be 35, 2 more is 37, and then 2 more is 39. Okay, so 35, 37, 39. All right, you can always check this too. If you add 35 and 37, you end up getting, what is it, 74. And then if you add 37 plus 37, you get the same thing, 74. All right, here is the last one. Find 3 consecutive even. I'm going to stop actually right there. Consecutive evens. So my first number is always x. It's every other number. The second number is x plus 2, and the third number is x plus 4. Okay, now let's see if we can figure out the writing part. Twice the largest is 2 less than 3 times the smallest. So the largest, hopefully you realize that the third number should be the largest, the first number should be the smallest. So twice the largest, 2 times the largest is equals 2 less than's always come last, 3 times the smallest. So twice the large is 2 less than 3 times small. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you substitute in the large and the small. We know the large was x plus 4, and the small we know is x. There's parentheses for a reason because you have to distribute. You've got to double the entire large. You can't just double the x. You're doubling the x and the 4. So the largest becomes 2x plus 8 equals 3x minus 2. And then if you subtract 2x from both sides, you get 8 equals x minus 2. You add 2 to both sides, and you get 10 is x. So then your numbers are 10, 12, and 14. Okay, so that is it. Good luck on your homework.